Hello, my friends. I am so glad that you could join me again. We have a garden project to tackle today, and as a reward for that work, I think we should treat ourselves to a peach galette. I love galettes because, well, they're much easier to make than fruit pies, and we can make the pastry dough right here in the food processor. And the first thing I need is 1.5 cups or 195 grams of all-purpose flour. I'm going to weigh out the flour. $196 grams, close enough. Let's see what this shows on the, yes, it shows 12 ounces or 1.5 cups. And we can tip the flour right into the food processor, along with 2 tablespoons of sugar and just a pinch of salt. Give this a quick spin. Then I need my butter. So this is a 1/2 cup or 114 grams of cold diced butter. Just sprinkle this over the flour mixture. And then we can pulse the machine just to break up the butter, or rather to cut the butter into the flour. Then with the machine running, I'm going to add from 1/4 cup to 1/3 cup of ice cold water. I want to add just enough water so that a dough comes together. I can grab my pastry cloth. And I want to form this shaggy mass into a ball, and then I will flatten the ball into a disc, and then we need to refrigerate it for at least 1 hour. So pastry dough is actually very easy to make, especially if you have a food processor. I want to wrap this in cling film. And I wanted to mention that if the camera angle looks a little wonky to you today, it's because Lizette, who is usually behind the camera, is out sick today. I hope she will be here tomorrow. Let me clean up my workstation, and then we are going to make a quick trip to the farm store. I want to find some flowering annuals that we can plant at the ends of the raised beds in the herb garden. In other words, I want to bring a little glamour to those raised beds. And flowering annuals should be deeply discounted right now because it's nearly July. So I'm going to clean up, and then we will head to the farm store.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight.
In addition to flowering annuals, we are also buying peaches today. All right, we are home again. Here are the peaches that you and I purchased at the farm store. And I also bought some nectarines. Now, a nectarine is simply a peach without the fuzz. So if you'd like to make this galette with nectarines, you certainly may. Now, I want to slice up the peaches. We'll probably use 6 peaches for this recipe. Now, I did wash these peaches thoroughly. Yay! Looks very attractive. I love the yellow flesh. Then we have to pop out the seed. Need a little bowl for these seeds, or I think they're called stones. There is no need to peel the peaches or the nectarines. We need to toss these peaches in a mixture of sugar and cornstarch and cinnamon and cardamom. I forgot to tell you that I brought my nicely chilled dough out of the refrigerator, and I'm just letting it soften slightly while we do these other jobs. So I have a half cup or 100 grams of sugar. Put that in a medium bowl. Then, as a thickener for the peach juices, I'm adding 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. You could use tapioca starch here. I often use tapioca. So the cornstarch or the tapioca starch will mitigate any runniness in this galette. And I want ½ teaspoon of cardamom, which will give the galette a lovely floral perfume, and a ½ teaspoon of ground cinnamon, which will give the galette a cinnamon perfume. And just whisk. And now we can add the peaches to the cornstarch mixture. And toss them gently with a spatula. And while the peaches are macerating or exuding their juices, we can go ahead and roll out the pastry dough. So once again, I have my trusty pastry cloth here. Many viewers have asked me to explain how I clean this pastry cloth. I simply throw it into the washing machine. To make this chilled dough a little more malleable, I'm going to give it several whacks with the rolling pin. I want to roll this dough into a 12-inch diameter circle. If you are rolling out your dough on a particularly hot day and the dough softens up on you, just pop it back into the refrigerator for 10 minutes or so. You want the dough to be cold but malleable. And 12. Now I need to transfer this to a rimless baking sheet that is lined with parchment. If you don't have a rimless baking sheet, just turn a regular baking sheet upside down. It is a very warm day here. My dough has softened up too much. I'm going to pop this in the refrigerator for 10 minutes. here is the chilled dough. Now, to further eliminate the chance of a runny galette, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch directly to the pastry dough, and then spread it out to within 1.5 inches of the edge. Then we can arrange the peaches in concentric circles. Then we can fold the crust over the fruit, making little pleats as we go. As I said, this is much easier than making a peach pie. Now, I do want to brush the crust with beaten egg. And of course, the egg will help the crust to brown beautifully in the oven. This next step is absolutely optional. I'm going to sprinkle some demerara sugar along the edge of the crust. Demerara is a coarse sugar. I'm going to pop this into the refrigerator while my oven finishes preheating to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. This is nice and chilled now. I'm going to pop it into the oven until the crust browns and the interior starts to bubble. That's going to take 45 to 50 minutes. Let me clean up here, and then we can head outside to plant the annuals that you and I bought together at the farm store. So here are the plants that you and I bought together at the berry farm. So I have this beautiful pink portulaca. This is Hell's Ember Red Petunia. This is another petunia called Crazy Tunia Blue Ice. I love the stripes on this plant. And this is a supertunia called Grape Punch. And it does have beautiful grape flowers. My goal is to plant these at the ends of the herb garden beds so that they will, I hope, cascade over the edge of the bed. Now, before we can plant at the end of this bed, I need to remove the now bolted romaine lettuce. This is the lettuce that you and I winter sowed last January. I enjoyed lots of romaine lettuce, but unfortunately the temperatures have hit the upper 80s and lower 90s, so romaine lettuce does not like that heat. So this will be great for my compost. My local farm store had a huge selection of flowering annuals during spring. Now, well into the growing season, the selection of annuals is rather skimpy. Still, I found some beautiful plants to put in the herb garden. And all of the plants were deeply discounted. course, the plants are all root bound at this point. I'm using my trowel to loosen the root ball. These beds are equipped with an irrigation system. Still, I like to give new transplants an initial deep soaking by hand. Mission accomplished. We've come indoors at the perfect time. Our galette is ready. I'm going to slide my galette onto this wooden cutting board just for easy slicing. So now we can slice into this galette. You would want to let your galette cool down a little more than I did mine, but I'm in a hurry to try this. And I'm going to serve this galette with vanilla ice cream that you and I bought together at the farm store. And we're going to have it with coffee. And instead of putting cream in the coffee, I'm going to put ice cream in the coffee. Let's go enjoy some coffee and a peach galette. Cold ice cream and hot coffee, a match made in heaven. I wanted to mention that this galette travels really well. You might want to make it for a picnic or potluck. I'm going to turn all of those nectarines that we bought into another galette that I will take to a friend's house this weekend. They invited us for dinner and I volunteered to bring dessert. Oh man, this galette is just incredible. The crust is flaky and tender. The peaches are sweet, but not too sweet. It's just, I think it's perfection. I will post the recipe in the description box below. Thank you for spending time with me today as we shopped for annuals and we shopped for peaches. And we planted the annuals, and we made a French pastry crust that we turned into this glorious peach galette. If you enjoyed this episode, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And I can put a couple of my other videos at the end of this one that you can watch between now and my next upload. Until then, please treat yourself well. Please make this galette, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye, friends.